Yeah. So
what I was going to ask is if I get tagged every week or every fortnight to try and get me to book onto a networking event. Not interested in going. I'm never interested in going. Is there a way that I can stop being tagged going forward, or do I just have to ignore it or remove tag as I'm tagged week on week?
Yeah, if you keep declining it, or if it's a person asking you to connect, you can say you don't know that person, and that will stop at that person asking you again. It will put a little black mark against them to say, Claire doesn't know this person, so we won't allow them to ask her again.
No, it's somebody I am connected to.
And do you like that person you're connected to? You see, what happens is when somebody does an event on LinkedIn, LinkedIn events, is it me?
Oh, no, it's not a LinkedIn event. They're using LinkedIn to promote the event, the networking event,
right,
and tagging the usual suspects who do networking.
Yeah.
They are currently a client. Let's just say, is this recording just shared between the three of us?
Yes.
That as soon as I am able to professionally get rid of that client, I will do, for, let's just say, Jimmy Savile reasons that I've discovered.
Oh, okay.
You thought what I said was bad.
So I need to be very careful currently while I'm still working for them, because this is not public knowledge. It's something I found out from a trusted source, to distance my brand. So whenever I talk about this client now, I will not name the client. I will say a technology client, and I can't say who they are because I'm under NDA.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I am in a position financially to lose that client through my choice, I'm quite happy to disconnect and cut and sever, but I can't do that beforehand.
If it was somebody who you liked being connected to, but you just didn't want to go along to the events, I would politely speak to them to say, look, I can't ever come to the events because they're not in my local region, whatever, or they're always on a Tuesday night and I can never do a Tuesday night, it's date night, whatever. And just try not to tag me anymore because I know it'll affect your reach on your posts. So
that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. If you know it's going to be short term and you don't like them and you don't really have a good excuse for not going, then just keep declining it when it pops up, and then unconnect from them when you can, so they then can't tag you in, or they shouldn't tag you in, or at the stage where you can lose them as a client, for reasons of losing them, you can actually tell them when you're losing them and just saying, and don't tag me into any more whatevers. And you can be quite blunt with them at that point because financially you're not bothered. So it's up to you. But there aren't ways really of unconnecting yourself from an event. Sometimes the algorithm just says, do you want to send it to all your connections? And it goes to them all.
You know, like on Facebook, you can remove I get tagged every Monday morning on a post, and first thing I do, remove tag.
You see,
then I don't get ping, 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 ping. Everybody's commented on posts you're tagged in. I wondered if you could remove a tag on LinkedIn.
You can hide notifications, you can snooze people. And when you get something through and you've been tagged into a post, go to the little three dots, so where you can actually go yourself if it was your own to edit, and there are options there to snooze. And if you can snooze for a certain length of time, you can unfollow, there's certain things you can do. So have a look at that when you get them through. And that's the other way that I was telling Colin, as to cleaning your feed up. If there's people that you've realised you're engaged with or connected to, that you don't actually want to see the stuff anymore. Right, okay, so I'll go through some questions that Colin had earlier on in the week. So you've come up with similar ones, to be honest, Claire. So Colin's got a past life where he worked at financial companies, and now he's got his new role. So it's constant not knowing. He's got his past connections from previous working experience, and now he's working for himself. So he's got a shift. He's shifted his focus with regards to different personas, and he wanted to know whether to bin off old contacts, unfollow them, or other. So basically, what I mentioned to Colin at the time was, yes, you can unconnect and unfollow people. As I mentioned before, if you've got an endorsement from that person, if you do unconnect from them, you lose that because the connection's been severed. So that will disappear from your profile. However, it's completely up to you. Sometimes if they're not bothering you, and yes, they're there as it's a figure in your number of connections, the algorithm will show your post to a certain percentage of people based on the overall figure. So it's up to you whether you want to reduce the figure. So if you get more engagement on posts, it looks like a higher percentage, so you get further reach on your further posts. It's a numbers game. But there is a thing where it's not who you know, it's not the person you're talking to, it's their connections as well. So it all depends on the people you're going to have a bit of a cleanse on. What kind of areas do they work in? And if they were to like anything of yours and it went onto their feed, are their connections of interest to you? And if so, keep them for now. See how it goes. If they're being idiots and the total, you know, the post is something quite political or not against what you're, you know, you don't want to be seen connected to them. You're never going to engage with their stuff because you don't want it to be seen that you're an advocate of theirs. If there's any reason why you don't want to be associated with them, unconnect, unfollow. You can either do it in the feed as they've posted, or you can go into your connections and click on their name and unconnect. They don't get a message, they never find out. So it's completely fine, and it's good to do. So I've had about, I don't know, God knows how many jobs in my life, and I've just kept all my connections for now. I need to have a bit of a good tidy out because some of them work now for companies that I don't want to be associated with, or we had a bit of a fallout, or, you know, and it's, you just don't want it really. I don't want to see what they're up to. And there's, you know, you need to be on the feed, you need to be happy with what you're seeing. And even though it's business, you know, you don't want it ramming down your throat every 2 minutes, do you? So you can snooze, you can unfollow, you can unconnect. So that's good. Okay, so also Colin said that he's now got 2 audiences. He's potentially got people that he might organise mortgages for, and obviously they work at a certain place. Is it good to connect with those people? But also he is going to start wanting to attract B2B people like estate agents. So, you know, what does he do there? So I mentioned that, yes, it would be good to connect with people who he is doing consumer related products with, like mortgages, because he's asking for pay slips and one thing and another, and he needs to know where they're working. He knows where they work, so he can search for them on LinkedIn and send a note to say, it'd be really good to connect on this professional platform, and get a different 30 character note written for those types of people. You wouldn't send one of the 3, Colin, that I've put in Trello to help. You'd have a special one for that, because it'd be, I know I'm organising your mortgage on a professional outside of work level, but it'd be really good to connect with you, because it might be nice for you to see other products and services on a business platform. Hopefully you agree, and because then that person then might decide if they're really happy with the service, they might leave you an endorsement, and they might be able to do other things. And likewise, you can connect with your estate agents at the same time. And the other question Colin had with regards to that is posting, because the content, like you, Claire, you mentioned you've got 2 roles. So this is very similar to Colin's question. He wants content aimed at some people on a personal level, like social proof, but also how does he attract businesses like estate agents? So his content has to be mixed, and that's completely fine, because mine's like that with regards to, I do management for some people, and I talk about if you're a busy marketing team or don't know the digital side and you want somebody to look after your accounts, I can do that for you. Or if you're a business and you want me to do some training, you know, there's this element. So I've got different services that I talk to different people. I'm sole traders. And smaller business owners like yourself, I'm trying to attract on self, coaching things like Lingo, and that's a different product again. So it's a different audience. All I do is I mention in the text as to why it could be relevant to what kind of person. And then if it's not that, if they don't fall into that category, then they'll just scroll past. But I get some engagement from my research client, the one that I showed you the review from, on all the Lingo stuff, and that's good for me because I know she'll never book on it because I do her management, but she's kind of endorsing that she, believes that the course will be great from what I do for her. And she's got loads of connections. So that's good for me because then when she likes it, that'll go on her feed to her connections. So again, that's good. Okay, so let me just go through questions. Yeah. And that, like Colin said, connecting with his consumer mortgage clients on LinkedIn, they can then start to see the credibility that he's putting out there with his social proof of what everybody else is thinking, which is great. Okay, next question Colin asked was reviews. So Trustpilot versus Google reviews, Facebook, LinkedIn, how and where to get a review. Basically, they're all good platforms. FIFO, Trustpilot and places like that were obviously created to keep all your reviews in one place. LinkedIn obviously just keeps your LinkedIn endorsements, Facebook reviews just as your Facebook reviews, etc. So it's up to you whether you want to invest in one of those, but when you do, you're starting from scratch because it's just a matter of who leaves them from the date you get it onwards. I basically, what I said to Colin was, if you're a local business, so if Colin, say for example, wanted to get lots of local people to do mortgage protection or first-time buyers, etc., if you have to be physically in front of them and you need to do local marketing, Google reviews is great for your local SEO and Facebook. So if you were like a local, I don't know, bakery or everything that you did had to be face-to-face, Colin, then it would have to be Facebook reviews and Google reviews. People can then see, because they're a B2C, they can see locally. But again, then estate agents would need to then leave reviews on LinkedIn because that's more of a businessy platform. However, what I've done before is I've gathered all my reviews together, whether they're on email, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever, and I've put them all into Word or Trello, and you can have separate pillars for your different reviews of different products and services. So if it's for first-time buyers, reviews, if it's insurance, put them in different columns. And what I've done in the past is I've said to quite a few people when I wanted my Google reviews increasing, I copied what they'd sent to me on an email or LinkedIn, and I've just said on an email, thanks for giving me this review. This is what you said, and copied it and dropped it below. It'd be really good if I could get a Google review. Is there any chance you can copy and paste it, click on this link and leave me a review on Google? It's exactly the same review as what you've already done. If you want to alter it, you can. But here it is. If you wouldn't mind, and I know it's a cheeky ask, but I'm really wanting to get more Google reviews because I've just changed my website and it'd be really good for SEO. So, and 100% all of them did that for me. And then another way, it's another door opener as to, thanks very much, how are you, what have you been up to since we last spoke, that kind of thing. So it was really good to do. And you don't have to give them the Google review. You could say, look, you did this for me on Facebook, but it'd be really good if you left me a LinkedIn endorsement. I know you're on LinkedIn. Can I send you a review link, and just copy and paste it? So that's what you can do. Claire, we'll go through your questions. I just need to get your email up as to what you sent over and what I've replied. Let me. Okay, so you don't need to see my screen. So Claire was wanting to know the best way to approach a content because she's got two roles. So she's got Make a Brew branding agency, and she's also offering a retainer service as an on-demand creative marketing director. And she wanted to know about how to mix the content up without mixing the confusion. And what I said to Claire was, people buy from people at the end of the day. So basically, at the level of the content is, I would just talk to people without mentioning the umbrella of the company you do the work under. And then get people to DM you or message you, or have a generic call to action, whether it's a calendar link of making, you know, having a chat and having a brew, and then talk to people about what it is they want, and then give them the option of which service you're going to invoice them for. I do that a lot. I talk to people about content and management and just social media niggles. And then it's like, you know, do you have a budget and would you like somebody to manage it? Or have you got people in house you'd like training? And then they just go down that different funnel, depending on how the conversation goes. So I wouldn't worry about having, you know, a certain, you are your own brand. So just talk about your content as if it's you. People buy from you, and then it doesn't matter what umbrella you invoice them under after that. Next question, Claire asked, being a sole trader like me, it's just me and the dog, is it, you know, inappropriate to share certain things? And no, it's not. You know, Storm's pacing up and down now. If Ferta bombs me and gets in the back of videos, and that's fine. There is a way to mention that you are working from home, and it's a lot more acceptable now. And you can share the humorous side. I did mention to Claire, you know, you can show the humor a little bit, you know, and also mingle it with your work, like you did, Colin, with the dog. It was Bring Your Dog to Work Day. You know, Claire, you can even mention the closest Pantone colour of his fur or her fur. There's lots of different things, and try and make it quirky. You can either leave things like that if you feel a bit uncomfortable midweek, do it on a Friday. Use the hashtag FryYay, because everybody's excited that they're off for 2 days, or you can leave it until a weekend and see what engagement you get over the weekend. Another question Claire mentioned about, she's got a new hobby, growing veg, and could it relate back to building and growing and nurturing the patient tactics, and would it be good for content to share? Yes, anything that you're doing outside of work, you'll see more and more things on LinkedIn that are unwork related, because people get to know you by doing it. And this is the this is more like the nurturing side of your content. You know, people get to know you better by knowing what you do outside of work, whether it's watching cricket, sponsoring the team, growing veg. There are awareness days that you could do it around, like we mentioned, World Vegetarian Day. Now, I know you're not a vegetarian, Claire, because we're talking about keto diets and eating steak and all the rest of it.
It's of vegetables and it's side of meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
Yeah, but don't put a big steak on a picture if it's vegetarian.
No. It was more like the fact that we're all growing businesses, or people are growing businesses. So you use it social media, or people are growing their families or growing something like that. You can apply the fact what is happening.
Yeah, and it's an outside interest. Yeah, and it's like how you switch off, you know, and you can also ask a question at the end of the post. This is how I switch off from work. You know, it gets me out of fresh air. I've never done it before. Has anybody else got any tips? You know, what do you do to switch off? There's loads of posts around that. You know, you see people cold water swimming, and there's all sorts of things.
Yeah.
How people keep the mindfulness and, you know, the interest outside of work, and it's just interesting to see. And you'd be amazed by the amount of engagement you get on them. But always ask a question at the end of it. How do you switch off? Have you got any gardening tips?
Yeah, that cup of tea post I did yesterday, I asked a question at the end of it, and I got loads more engagement than I get on some other stuff.
Yeah, because if you're not asking a question and you're asking somebody to do an action, like download this or whatever, you're not going to get the engagement that you would if you asked a question, because somebody will read it and think, oh, yeah, well, I do that, or whatever it is, you know. So yeah, always ask a question if you can at the end of something like that, and then you get to know your connections better as well. So question 5 from Claire, I love the 40-20 ratio. So the content, you know, the growth nurture 40% and money content 20. How do I aim to balance it out? Is it a week or over a month? So basically, as I've said, engage daily and aim to post 2 or 3 times a week. So say, for example, you use a daily hashtag like Thoughtful Thursday or a Tip Tuesday. This will take one of those up. And then something a bit more fun on a Friday. And then it'll leave one for growth a week for you to think about short term until you get used to things. So if you're aiming for the 40, 40, 20 and you decide to post 3 times a week, say, that's 12 posts a month. So aim for about 5 of growth and nurture content, and about 2, so 1 a fortnight for the money. And just try and work it on that for now. And then you'll just gradually get into a natural flow. And it doesn't matter if you do 7 growth and 3 nurture 1 month, it doesn't matter. As long as if you're not, the main thing is that you're not talking about the money, what sell constantly, because that's when people switch off, don't engage, and then they stop seeing your stuff in the feed. Next question, do you have a Trello board or template for storing posts? Yep, we've just talked about that. I've shown you mine, and we'll go through yours, setting yours up in the 2-hour sessions that you've now both set up. And the last one from Claire, where did you recommend I put video? Right, did you find that? I'll go through that.
I think I haven't had a chance to look until this morning, and
Yeah.
the reason I asked that is because I do have a video on my
And
clicking.
I'll share this with Colin as well.
On the featured section.
Yeah, right. So I'll go into LinkedIn and then I'll just remind, I'll just go over the question again. Can you see LinkedIn? Right, yeah. Okay. So a few days ago, I mentioned when we were talking about the profile that you can add videos or images to your profile in a certain place. So Claire was wanting to know where that place was. So if you go to your profile like this, and say, for example, you created a download of, I don't know, brand, it could be a guide to setting up your brand. It could be a first-time mortgage tip sheet. Okay, so that would be relevant to Make a Brew for you, Claire, and it would be relevant to Wallace Home Finance for you, Colin. So what you do is you scroll down until you get to your experience, because obviously I work at the Thinking Cap, and you click on the pencil. Wi-Fi permitting, it comes up. Okay, now these are the things that I've added. Okay, I'll just show you an example. So what I've done is every product page on my website, I've added as a link under my experience for that. So bespoke LinkedIn training, I've added the link, it's pulled the picture through, a little bit of information about what I can do on bespoke LinkedIn training. Content made easy, image pulls through, blah, blah, blah. It carries on. I don't know why it's not pulled that through, need to look at that. But these are all based on examples of posters that I've created, infographics that I've created, etc. Okay, so where you go to do that is when you've clicked on your main pencil experience, it then opens up all your experiences with your pencils at the side. So if I wanted to add something under the Thinking Cap, I click on a pencil again. Wi-Fi in Horsforth, great. Okay, so yeah, I want to add it to the Thinking Cap. I don't really have any changes there. Add media. I can add a link or upload, so that's where you do it. Okay, so when you upload media, you've then got the option of photograph, etc. If you wanted to add a link, you might need to, depending on how big your video is, you've got a maximum of the how big a video you can add. What you might need to do, Colin, if you've got a video, you might need to pop it into YouTube as an unlisted video if you don't want everybody to see it. And you might need to just get the link from YouTube and add the link, or Vimeo, whoever you use. So it depends. You can upload immediately, but if your video is over a certain size, you might need to upload it as a link. And when you do that, let me just click on it. Okay, I've not done it for a while. Yeah, you type your link in. Let me just try it with and then it asks you to give a bit of information about the product and service. Right, so can you see, are you back, are you still with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so say for example, I add my link of Lingo. Like watching paint dry, isn't it? I don't know why it's not done that. Why has it not done that?
I need to shoot, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, I'll send you this as
Let's do the video, that'd be great.
yeah, so when you put that in, you then get to put a description in. Okay. Brilliant. So I'll finish that off with Claire and then I'll send you the video.
Fab. Thanks very much. Speak soon. Cheers, Claire. See you.
See you, Colin.
So then when you add the link and you press add, it then brings the title up, which you can change if you want. It's just pulled that in from the URL of the page. And you can change you know, you can change that if you want, because the thumbnail's not pulling through as I'd like. So you can change the thumbnail to the video link and add your description. And then you press apply and then it goes onto your profile under that job description.
Cool.
That's where you add that. And that was a really good question, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that's in the future Lingo for other people. And also,
you know, I didn't know you could put it down there in experience, but you know, the featured section up above,
yeah,
you can put video and content in there.
Yeah.
So further question now, if I have a video in my experience, for example, I've got a testimonial video from a client, so I'd put that in experience. Could I put the same video in featured?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, because it's higher up the profile, so people might scroll.
Yeah, just see your profile as a website. Just so if you had a video on your homepage, you could have it on a product page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, somebody will go to one part of your website or your profile. They might not go to both, so they're not going to see it. Don't worry about that. They're not going to see it twice.
No, but they'd see it if they went on my LinkedIn profile. They'd see the video if I put it in the featured section, which is just under the analytics at the top.
Yeah, which
and
is
if they went to Stalk Me CV, they'd see it in the experience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The main thing is you want them to see it once. If they see it twice, great. You know, don't worry about that. If they've seen the thumbnail and it looks the same, they've already watched it, they'll just scroll past and look at your other stuff. The main thing is you need to get it seen. So I always add things under the actual company that I've worked for. What I used to do, and you'll find the same problem because you do work with people, is I've personally, and do you add, when you are on a retainer as a branding creative, do you add it as experience? That's another thing. As the company, you see, I haven't done so far. And if I ever went for a job, my CV looks horrendous because I've worked for the Thinking Cap for 12 years and dotted in between, I say where I've worked as a marketing consultant. It says me as the Thinking Cap, but it's experience I want to show to other people. So again, you can add other experience that overlaps with, you know, like you've got two positions at the moment, and it's up to you whether you add it as the actual company where you've worked. And and that's just, you know, you can add that, and then like what I've put there through the thinking cap.
Right, so
Yeah.
you're saying where you
This is where I've and if I've got any customers that are completely happy for me to announce that, like Reso, they give me lots of reviews, testimonials, share everything that I do, engage with things, they're really happy, and I've been working with them for over a year now. I could add them on here, that Reso, Inkjet, you know, I do their digital marketing, social media, and I could use all the right keywords saying that I've been in the print and direct mail industry for a long time, and I could attract more of the same. I haven't done, because if I do that, there's conflicting to me. I can't work for another inkjet company because it'll conflict.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't, and I don't want to lose them either. So I've not added to them, but you could do that, you know, because if you're doing the branding for one customer, it's not, you're not going to have any confliction with any others.
Yeah, I think I might do that depending on the length of contract, but the point I made earlier, I do not want any association to me and my business with that company, because things always come out eventually. And whilst I had no knowledge of this situation until this week, so last week I said, yeah, no problem, I'd put that on, but now, nah.
Yeah.
And I need to be very careful with my reputation and my brand, just in case something ever comes out eventually.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah. So, but with regards to Colin, wouldn't do that, what we've talked about on the profile, because he's organising
customers and individuals.
Unless he's got an affiliate association with an estate agent that he works side by side with, and he's got a role for that, and he wants to prove he can do the same with others. However, you can have more than one live job. You know, you can have as many as you want. You don't have to say that you've ended one to start another.
Yeah.
And you can actually in the title say as a consultant working through the thinking.
Actually, yeah. So under experience, I've got me, I work at Make a Brew. I could put creative marketing director.
Yeah.
As a role rather than specifying the actual client.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Because then when people, if they are a bit confused because you're about it's really, really well written and it's really good, and you say, I can do it for you under this or under that. And they might think, oh, what's that all about? And then they'll scroll down and they won't see it in your experience. So add it in there. So yeah, and you can change your profile all the time. And the only reason why I would suggest adding extra experience, like if you were to work and mention a certain client, if they're in a certain industry, is because you can use those hashtags in your description of what you do for them, working with brands in the retail sector or retail branding, and that you've actually worked for, say, if it's ASOS doing the brand, and you would tag in ASOS as an employee, because somebody might think I'm looking for a large POS clothing retail designer, and you could come up in the search that you've been the brand designer for that company, even if it's in the past or current.
Right.
And you put in brackets as a consultant under Make a Brew, whatever, then they'll think, brilliant, she's freelance, so she can do ours as well. And
So would you,
through those tags and hashtags in the search bar.
Would you go back on past experience? So for example, when I did work at the NHS, if I go in there and put the brand identity and some of those hashtags that are currently relevant under that experience.
Yeah. Brackets, the company that you did it under, put some of the, so it's like starting to be more like a portfolio for you.
Yeah, because I was on staff, like I said, I was a wage slave.
Yes. Well, add the tag the company in so the logo gets pulled in. Yeah. Use all the right hashtags, healthcare branding, healthcare, NHS, whatever, NHS design, whatever you can use. You know, it gives you more credibility when people go down your profile. You can just add your to and from dates. So, you know, between this date and that date, this is what I did, who I did it for, where I worked. This is an example of the work.
Niche.
And you can always remove them. You know, it's not up there forever. If you're thinking, do you know what, if you're working for somebody and it goes a bit sour and you think, I don't ever want to be associated, you know, just remove it from your experience if you don't want it to be there. It's not like a CV where somebody thinks, hang on a minute, there's a 2-month gap here. She left that company and she didn't start. Do you know what I mean? If you ever went for an interview and you had a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
It's not like that. So don't worry about that. It's just a way of you showcasing what you've done, who you've done it for, and have the media in there as well.
No, that's I didn't know you could put media in experience. That's really useful.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? I'll have a look at the dates that you've put in. I don't know. I saw it flash up, but I didn't see.
Wednesday morning.
Right. Okay.
No, I don't think I've asked you during the session, to be fair.
Yeah.
The only things that have popped up today. No, I don't think there's anything else. I
don't
think
need to prepare anything for the session. If you want to do it face to face, let me know. If you want to do it on Zoom, have a look at your diary.
No, Zoom's fine by me. Yeah. And to be honest, I may say, can we record it just so that I can remember what's written? That's all right.
Yep, we can record it, no problem. And all you'd need is your Trello board open. So create a new Trello board for your content. Just we'll go through your persona again because I'll need to be reminded of it. So we'll start fresh, just get a Trello board. A new one.
I need to revisit anyway, because I've got the one that I did for this week was for the creative marketing director role.
Yeah.
But I think I need to have the different ones for like a startup company, because I've got an offering for them, and in a more established company I've got an offering for them.
Work on your different personas before the session and then we'll go through them all. So all you need is a fresh Trello named content Trello with nothing in it. Pick a nice background if you want, or a colour. Leave it as that, and have it open, because if you want, I can type in it, you can type in it. It's up to you. And we'll just brainstorm and jump on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you very much. That's really good.
Thanks for coming along.
So, as always, I do the vlog on a Friday, and I haven't got anything pre-prepared. So, is it all right with you if I talk about Lingo today?
It is, yeah.
And then obviously I will tag you in the content of it.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
No problem.
Thanks very much. I'll see you on Wednesday.
See you later.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Meet you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.